Medical disclaimer. The content of this video is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, and always get proper treatment for serious medical conditions. Legal disclaimer. Use only legal measures to combat the virus and cooperate with government officials, first responders and healthcare workers to make the coronavirus a thing of the past and create a perfect society ASAP. Use common sense, logic and help your fellow humans if necessary, also to lower the risk of being vaccinated mandatorily ourselves and to end the pandemic as soon as possible. The objective of my videos is not to slander people nor to incite or trigger people, but to do the opposite, exposing it when people are wrongly accused and to create universal peace, world peace or just peace on earth. People are innocent till proven guilty in the court of law. One who knows of evidence must testify, not to convict anyone without a fair trial. Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race. Our common enemy is death. Welcome on Perfect Society. I'm Ulrich Hofmann, and this is the broadcast. GQ EMF-390 radiation meter detector review and spectrum analysis software for PC. So first I want to keep clear that it's important to shield ourselves when we go to supermarkets. Also, children in schools can wear shielding clothing, protective clothing. And now they're going to roll out 5G, it seems. It is clear that shielding clothing is a must for everybody. I've covered the 60 gigahertz boxes and the claims, the scientific studies that prove beyond any reasonable doubt that 5G is a health hazard, and the reproducible tests, the blood tests we can do at home, so we can be 100% certain of our case. And realize that some people lie because they don't know any better to get loads of money, the telecom companies, and others do it to reduce the global population, something that this world is not sustainable unless we reduce the global population to 500 million. That's why sustainability equals democide. But let's first go to a video that I've watched about this, a comparison of radiation meters. Here it is. This video RF meter comparison, and I have two other meters as well, so perhaps I can do this in this broadcast. I have a finger camera so that I can compare these three measuring instruments that I have. I recently bought another one that I also did a review about, and compare it to the HF35C. And the people in this video claim that the measuring instrument is absolutely inaccurate, that it's no good, and they've made this overview here. Let's see if I have that ready. I haven't found this online, and the question is the EMF-390 even listed? CIARS testing, power measurement error 2.4 gigahertz, CW signal. So then the question is, which one is the EMF-390? I think it could be this one, though it looks more like 590. Because on the video the overview is quite small. So this is a screenshot of the video, and I've sharpened it a little bit. and if it's this one, then that's probably this curve we're seeing here. So this shows the measurement error. 0, it should be 0, so this, what is it, orange one is supposedly best according to their test. Is that this is the more yellowish one. So I'm not really capable to determine what this is actually showing, but anyway, that would mean that at lower power densities, it would be more inaccurate. It would show a lower value than the actual value, I think. Minus 150 at higher than 1 microwatt per square meter measurements, basically. And it goes on to about 10 volt per microwatt per meter, and then it becomes a little bit more accurate. But the meter also has a setting. I can show it powering up also. Here we have the EMF-390, and then I can power it on. We can see the battery 93% or something, 96%. And if I keep the button pressed, then we see it switching on. I've turned off the lighting for the screen to save battery. Perhaps it's better for this broadcast to turn that on for a while. So then I hit the right button. Oops, then I'm turning it off if I hit that too long. Now I said it has that bleeping thing, and then it has a nice startup screen. That's not visible now because I've turned off the LED backlighting. And I hit that power button, the right button, user option, display option, that's the one we want. Backlight timer, light off, and I just simply turn it on like this, and I already put it on the lowest brightness setting, and it doesn't use too much battery. So that's the screen, and I noticed that there's too much EF. What does that stand for, I wonder? It also has EMF, and you can switch between these modes basically. EMF 2.4 milligauss and EF 319 volt per meter. We hear the alarm going off. It also shows a graph. So that's way too high, and I've noticed that that's practically everywhere where we have these cables and electronic devices. And what does it stand for, EF? Because it has EMF, that stands for electromagnetic fields, I guess. Electric fields, perhaps. And it has to do with the frequency, I think. And RF is 12.1 nanowatt per square centimeter. At the moment. And we can connect this to a PC and also see the readings on the screen. I'm going to show that later. And comparison with other measuring instruments, that's the idea. And it has this nice graph at the bottom, and then if it picks up a signal, then it can indicate what type. I haven't tested if it can indicate 5G as well, or only Wi-Fi phone, basically. That's what it would show probably, like we see on the picture. I cut the protective foil that was on the screen so that it fits on the screen, and took off the thing that you can take the foil off the screen with. Okay, so what am I gonna do first? Perhaps it would be nice to first do a comparison with my other measuring instruments. That was my plan. and I've prepared it with the camera. So now I'm gonna get the HF35C that's right here and my little blue measuring instrument. Where are your little blue measuring instruments? Probably in my bag. Yay! Got it. So I bought this from the eBay Co UK if you're in Europe, then otherwise if you buy it from the US then you have to pay a lot of import fees. So this is another measuring instrument this is the BR-9A ZGK PDQ, but it has other brand names as well, and here you have to hit the mouse right button to access the menu or the measurement readings. So we can compare that to the other one. This shows S, E and H. There's also a version that has Geiger counter, and it also says on here Geiger. I don't know if you all can see this, Geiger, and on the other end counter over here. And this is not the Geiger counter version, but it's the same box basically. So this is a very cheap thing, 23 bucks. Okay, this one's a little bit more expensive, under $200 basically. You can pick them up. And some people are raving about this one and others are very negative about the accuracy. At least the people in this video uploaded by 9CI RF meter comparison, 5,000 views, 129 likes, 25 dislikes. Okay, and then I have to get my HF35C. Oh yeah, I can show that sensitive setting, but you can look it up in the manual. That's more important. So on the GQ website we can download the manual for this thing, and that's what it looks like. This is the manual, GQ Electronics. This is the full manual available on their website, gqelectronicsllc.com. And there you can also download the software, a program to do the measurements. Then I first have to connect the meter perhaps, so I'm not starting that up yet. And then I can check sensitive. Perhaps I need to zoom out. I'm not seeing the selection of the text. I'm searching on sensitive. Press enter. No matches were found. Okay, well, then I press the right power button for the main menu. Perhaps it's best if I show you all how to do that. So that's this button here on the right side, power button. Then you get the main menu. And then we have user option, RF, and then scroll down to RF settings. And hit the power button again. And then RF sensitivity can be put on sensitive, and it's on sensitive now, or on standard, and that will give different readings. So perhaps that will correct for the readings that are too low for lower power densities. And perhaps they didn't know that, or they didn't check that, they didn't have it on during their test. So then the measurement inaccuracy can be less than we see in that graph that they made in theory. Okay, so I think it's nice that it has that spectrum analyzer that shows the signal. It can even show the ones and zeros, basically the data rate, data flow, how fast the packets are sent and received, etc. Oh yeah, and I'm showing the HF35C. Switch it on, it's immediately on, and then the reading starts going down to, in this case, almost 1.0 microwatt per square meter. You can have spitzenwert and mittelwert, so average and what extreme, the spitzenwert, the top value basically. I'm not getting the English word at the moment. Perhaps I'll recall it during the rest of this broadcast. And on the back it has converting table for conversions, microwatt to microvolt per meter, etc. Microwatt per square meter to volt per meter. And this has demodulation, so you can make any microwave signals audible. There you can hear the frequency, and that can be cancer Wi-Fi, cancer GSM, cancer UMTS, etc. And also radar, DAB, cancer microwave ovens, cancer Bluetooth, and cancer Wi-Fi. And I placed the word cancer in front of that because the microwave radiation, cancer cell phone radiation, causes cancer. That's why many people call these towers death towers. And the scientific studies that prove this beyond any reasonable doubt are covered in my previous broadcasts. So then I'm ready to do the test with the finger cam. Let's see if I can set that up. Don't want to show myself nude here. I can only put this one to this side on the desk, basically like this, and then I need a cancer cell phone, I guess. And I'm gonna use a Yota phone. I still have to switch it on, so that takes a while to load up. This is the Yota phone, Android, and it has an e-ink display on the other side. And that's starting up now. So that will take a while. Oh wow! It's picking up stuff. So let me put it right here and put my camera on it. Let's see if I can get that to work. I've already set it up, so it should work. Finger cam. So there, you can see it has started up. Over here. Okay. So then I'm gonna have to take it out of airplane mode. At the moment the HF35C is showing readings up to 1 microwatt per square meter, sometimes a little higher, 1.3, 1.4, but nothing. Well, it is worrisome, you could argue. You should keep it below 0.1 microwatt per square meter. And this is spitzenwert. If I go to mittel, average, then it goes to about 0.5 microwatt per square meter. So that can also lead to different measurements, so you always have to keep it or in spitzenwert or mittelwert. And then so that's below 1 microwatt per square meter, and this is showing qua RF as we can see, 248.9 nanowatt per square centimeter. So this is microwatt per square meter, and we know that that should be 0.1 microwatt per square meter, and this is 251 nanowatts. So it's milli, micro, nano, pico. And this is per square centimeter, not per square meter. So you'd have to use a table to calculate, and I doubt if these values are correct. And the other one is showing 0.4 microwatt per square centimeter. Okay, so now I'm going to take this thing out of airplane mode and observe what happens. Let's see if I can't get them all on there, perhaps, because the camera could disconnect. Okay, so I keep it like this and then airplane mode. Okay, well, it's on the video, especially the HF35C immediately responded, and we also heard a okay, and there it is again, up to 39 microwatt per square meter in Spitzenwert. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn on Cancer Bluetooth first, or Wi-Fi. Cancer Wi-Fi on. I should do this with the shielding hoodie on, but it's just for the sake of this broadcast. If I would have to use it longer, well, that's not the right example. I have to wear my shielding hoodie immediately before doing this, before taking it out of airplane mode. So I have to set the right example. I'll be right back. Lead by example, people. Lead by example. I know it's silver colored. I did put it somewhere. It must be somewhere. My shielding hoodie, where are you? I did wash it once with special detergents. So it should be quite clean, and it should be here somewhere. Where did I put it? I can't do this too long, the batteries are running out, so they have sabotaged this. With synthetic telepathy they can control the human mind, and that way they can make everything, just about everything, go wrong for people, because they control people's brain waves. And they don't want their population reduction methods to be exposed, of course. They just want everybody to die, supposedly for the Earth, but in reality it's just for more power. And generating that crisis is part of it, generating a recession with their disproportionate coronavirus measures. Okay, if it's not here, then it must be in the bathroom. I didn't put it anywhere else, it must be here somewhere. So this one. I usually put it on my bed so that I can easily wear it when I deem it necessary. My black hoodie as well. I think I may have put it on downstairs on sorry for the wait. Right, I put it on the, what do you call it, in the wardrobe downstairs because I was wearing it to the supermarket and it was too hot inside, so I took it off. And it's from downstairs, so it's nice and cool. Really cool. Okay, almost there. It has very long sleeves, so usually I'm doing this. You see the sleeves are very long so that they can protect your hands, and also the hoodie is very long so it protects your genitals. But this costs like 250 bucks, though there are cheaper ones available for about 80 bucks. And I still have to test the shielding capacity, how well they shield our body against cancer cell phone radiation. That's just about everywhere nowadays, especially with the Starlink satellites that are already above our heads. Okay, finger cam is back, so now I can do it responsibly. Let's take another look. Alrighty. And now I'm gonna turn on the cancer Wi-Fi. Is that even working? Oh, yes, it's it has a stripe through it. It's now gone, so now it should be working. Long press this. There. So then I should make a connection, perhaps. And we see on the spectrogram that it regularly is pulsing. 491 nanowatt per square centimeter. And it may also depend on where we keep the measuring instrument and where we keep our cell phone. If I keep it more above it. Are we still pulsing? Then it's more than 28. What is this? Then it goes to volt or microwatt per square meter or centimeter. Let's do it like this. I'm watching the screen, so I didn't see what it was. 80.9 watt. Pulse. 94 microwatt per square centimeter, I think. Yeah. So it does also measure in 400 microwatt per square centimeter. And this one again. Well, that doesn't fluctuate very much. It stays below 1 microwatt per square centimeter supposedly. And then I'll keep it on the antenna, near the antenna, like that. Wait for pulse. More than 1000 microwatt per square meter. What was the maximum? 2000 perhaps. I can switch this. There are two modes on this one. One is up to 199 microwatt per square meter, and the other one is 1999. So I switch that on now, and then we can see, if I keep it near the antenna, we should be able to see it again. Duh. Come on now. 800 something. Over 1,000. Okay. Not gonna do it too long because I'm holding it in my hand and that's wrong. I should wear shielding gloves when doing this. Alright, then we can test Cancer Bluetooth, Cancer Wi-Fi off. Now I've turned it off so then we won't hear that pulse anymore. It's checking with that pulse, trying to communicate with other devices, to exchange data, to know what type of device is in the environment. Now there was, this was showing something though. Oh, it's still, now even though Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are turned off on the Cancer cell phone, it's once in a while it's still transmitting energy for some reason, though there's no SIM card in it. Or there was something else. Oh, there it is again. And this thing also has a logging function. So I've turned the logger on and then you can read all the data in an Excel spreadsheet on the screen. And I'm going to show the spectrum analyzer on the PC. So for the price this is very reasonable, I think. Though it may not be as accurate as some other devices that people can get. And I've taken Bluetooth, I switched it on. That one lights up white. The Wi-Fi doesn't, it just shows a stripe and it doesn't light up when you turn it on. Bluetooth does. And are we seeing any reading? Is it doing anything? Bluetooth, no paired devices. Oh, they're showing a reading. You could also hear the very softly. So it's not as bad as Cancer Wi-Fi perhaps. And we have to wait until it sends another signal. So let's switch this back to 199, more sensitive. Then we hear it also. Keep the device near there, near the antenna. That was something. Well, it might take too long. And I'm not gonna pair it with any device. Oh, there we saw it's 50 microwatt per square meter. And it should be kept below 0.1 microwatt per square meter. To have an idea of what Cancer Bluetooth and Cancer Wi-Fi does, you can also check more settings on that, but for now I'm going to turn it off and put it in airplane mode again. Airplane mode. Where's the little plane? Ah, there. Alright. So then you all can have an idea about what's most useful. I think that the HF35C is used by a lot of people. It's quite expensive, I think, but it is a quality device. And I don't know if they've also tested it in their comparison. It may also be very accurate. Gigahertz solutions. So this is GQ EMF-390. And the ZGK PDQ BR9A mode BR9 model BR9A. Okay. So what I'm going to do next, but it's still picking up stuff. You can also hear it probably. It has volume control for the speaker, so it's a rather high frequency. Perhaps it's easiest if I just keep it near the microphone. And there are antenna registers online, so you can check what type of antenna they've placed near your house. For example, in the Netherlands it's antennaregister.nl, and then you can see the date they rolled it out and what frequency, etc. And on this one you can get a better idea of the frequency also, so that this has different modes. By clicking the left arrow left button, basically you can access the menu all in one mode: vertical mode, table mode, EMF graphs, RF browser, and RF spectrum. Let's see that for a while. And this is 2.4 GHz to 2.504 GHz. And you can also set this by hitting this left button. You have to keep it pressed for a while, and then you can see the other spectrum. So this doesn't go up to 10 GHz, though the all-in-one mode does, supposedly. So you can also measure from 240 to 1040 megahertz, and that would look something like this. So that's GSM 900, etc. Okay, so I put it back on the 2.4 gigahertz. So this was the basic thing, and then I can now show the the other function, the what do you call it, spectrum analyzer function for the PC with the software. I'm gonna turn off my HF35C, and I'm also making this video for myself so that I can check what the measurement values for the different devices were. But basically you'd have to know where the antenna is located in the device and then keep that as close as possible to the transmission antenna of the Ganter cell phone to have a good reading. And then with calculations you can determine what the actual value of the cheaper devices is, basically. So that blue one, that's really, I'd say, practically unusable. Right now it's showing 0.826 microwatt per square centimeter, fluctuating between 600 and 800. Oh, it goes to 500 also. So let's switch this. I have to put this in the right mode for the spectrum analyzer software to work, the EMF-390, and it also has zoom. Oh yeah, zooming out and switching to the other mode. No, RF spectrum, that's correct. And then all I need is the cable, so I'm first gonna switch it off. And that also shows the, does it show the LED? The LED can also be turned off. It has a little LED lamp. So that's not the backlight LED, that's in display settings, but when you switch it on or off, there it goes. Then you see the LED flash. And it has an alarm, and you can set the value where the alarm goes off yourself, basically, when it gets too high. So let's get the cable that came with the device. And I've already tested it, it works. So I'm getting it out of the box now. And it also has a little card that shows the saved levels and the manual. And it's that's not the full manual you can read online. It's just the quick start manual. Okay. But it's a standard cable, I think. So it's the standard USB connector cable. Not the flat cancer cell phone connection, but a little bit bigger one. I'll show it to you all. A white cable. This is the connection, and it goes into the device on this side. So you have another USB available. It fits exactly, it's a good fit, and people have to watch out with these connections. When the device falls, then the connector can get broken inside. I have that with lots of keyboards, these little MIDI keyboards. And not gonna disconnect my I'm charging the other thing, and then there's the MIDI keyboard. I'm gonna take out this one.
D.
Okay.
C.
And then it shows charging percentage, 95%. And then I can switch to desktop. Here it shows the location of the sensors, so the the F sensors for the EF measurements are in the middle at the front. It also has 3-axis measurement for EMF with the sensors right there, and the RF radio frequency, that's cancer cell phone radiation measurement sensor, is located right here according to the manual. And that's 2.4, 2.5 gigahertz band. So qua spectrum analyzer, it cannot measure from 0 to 10 gigahertz, but they explain how that works. So it does measure the radiation from, what was it, 0.4 or 400 megahertz. Perhaps it's at the beginning of the manual somewhere. Specifications. RF frequency up to 8 gigahertz, up to 10 gigahertz, EMF-390 only. So that's in the manual as well. Okay, then I will start up the software now. Already there. Okay. So it's already connected, as we can see. We can't make this full screen, and it stays in the left top corner basically. So I'm just going to do it this way. Let's do this. And then we can switch off the get spectrum data. Oh, I have to switch on the device basically. Can I do that with this? Yes, it's switching on, it shows the screen. And there it is. So this is between 2.4 and 2.5 gigahertz. So if I switch on cancer Wi-Fi again, then we'd see a different measurement probably. Let's try that. Boom. It showed it on the top screen, not on the graph. Let's put the cancer cell phone near the measuring instrument. Put it on top of the thing. Yes, there it is. So there are pulses. Let's see, surge threshold. bar and line. We can also change it into line only. Or power, what does it show? It's not showing anything at the moment, perhaps. So that doesn't make any difference. In the top screen section we find that these pulses are shown, and they're not shown in this window, the other measurement window. Zoom in, zoom out, back. So also, if we want to measure a different spectrum, then we have to do it on the measuring instrument. There's another pulse with the left button. Hold it for a while, and then we can select the other frequency range, 240 to 1040 megahertz. So that's up to 0.1 gigahertz basically. So these are the values in my room at the moment. So it displays the biggest peak, the highest peak. Maximum minus 66 decibels per meter. Like the Aaronia, Aaronia. I must have that thing somewhere, unless it was gone with the rest of my stuff. Anyway, that also measures in decibels per meter, and the best ones may be Narda meters, and they're very expensive. And you also need these probes, which may be even more expensive than the measuring instrument itself. To measure up to 100 gigahertz, the full 5D spectrum, you'd have to pay like $20,000-$30,000 US to be able to measure that with a NARDA professional measuring instrument, also used by people that work for the government and other professionals that do these measurements. So for those people, this measuring instrument may not be good enough, but for consumers it's affordable, and it's certainly better than not having anything. And this is the RF card that shows that you get with the measuring instrument. EMF, EF, RF radiation safety reference. And it's a bit hard to read perhaps. It shows EMF recommendation. Keep it below 2.5 milligauss, EF below 3 volt per meter, and RF, cancer cell phone radiation, microwave, death towers below 1 microwatt per square centimeter. I'd have to look if that equals 0.1 microwatt per square meter. So they claim on this one that's normal, and if it's higher than 2.5, 3 and 1 microwatt per square centimeter, check regularly. That's that yellow line. And if it's higher than 30 milligauss, 50 volt per meter, 1 milliwatt per square centimeter, not recommended for long time stay, and over 100 milligauss, over 500 volt per meter, over 100 milliwatt per square centimeter, avoid long time stay in that area. RF density unit 1 microwatt per square centimeter equals 10 milliwatt per square meter. 1 milliwatt per square centimeter equals 10,000 milliwatt per square meter. 100 milliwatt per square centimeter equals 1 million milliwatt per square meter. Always take a confirmation reading before taking action. This guide is only for general references. QElectronicsLLC.com, Seattle, Washington. They're in Seattle. So thanks for producing this thing. I like it because it's easy to carry. It's not as big. With the HF35C I have that antenna. You can also remove that and then it's in two pieces, but it's still not as easy to carry as this EMF-390. And I also like that spectrum analyzer. It's for that price I think it's a cool device. Aaronia also sells devices with spectrum analyzer, and that indicates on the screen what type of signal you're dealing with. GSM 900, Wi-Fi, microwave, radar, etc. That's aaronia.de with double A. I could check their website also. I can check what prices they have basically. But I'm doing this broadcast because the other broadcast was loved about that blue little BR9A or whatever. People like that broadcast, so this one's even cooler, I think. People want to know these things. When I was watching these videos, I was looking for a comparison to see how accurate it can measure, basically. So this is the type of comparison people are hoping for, so they can make up their mind qua what measuring instrument they should get. Spectrum analyzer, antenna, shielding, and software. I had this antenna, this blue one, and a set of 2 meters. I still have the other meter that I don't need and never use. So that's pretty affordable. Spectrum NF5030, that could be the one that I used to have. Or was it the V4? Oh, that's a combination, perhaps. Perhaps I have this one. This goes up to 30 megahertz. I still have this one, but no antenna. That's connected to this one. And it's 1498. And it measures from 9 kilohertz up to 9.4 gigahertz. Meer infos. Can't I see this in English? Here, we can change it to English. Well, back to German then. Don't know if this page is also available in English. So then you get this software with it to connect it to the PC, but I did notice that this device itself was transmitting cancer cell phone radiation. I measured it with the HF35C, and the EMF-390 is not doing that. So that may be a disadvantage, but people can shield to a certain extent. So it was definitely this V4. I might still have it somewhere, though I don't know where it is at the moment. And it can definitely not measure up to 100 gigahertz. So it cannot measure the radiation from the 60 gigahertz WGIG boxes, which according to some are deadly. So I hope they are investigating, testing if that's true. If it indeed uses 60 gigahertz is easy to find out. It definitely does use frequencies around 60 gigahertz, which is for 98% absorbed by oxygen. Like 2.45 gigahertz used in microwave ovens is absorbed by water. But so this is also a reasonable deal for the price, I think. I don't know if there are any alternatives below $1,000 that can measure to 10 gigahertz or higher. So if you know any good ones, let me know in the comments, let others know. because electrosensitive people, electrohypersensitivity, is recognized in Sweden, and we really need to know if that's around, because we can faint and we can even die from this. And people can become electrohypersensitive because of directed energy weapon attacks, and there's a correlation. In reality, people that are EHS, electrohypersensitive, are also chemically sensitive, according to Dr. Cyril Smith. So avoid any chemicals in food, chemicals cancer-causing prescription drugs, chemicals cancer-causing generic drugs, and any other drugs with chemicals in it, synthesized things, unnatural drugs, have a synergistic effect with cancer-causing electromagnetic radiation, according to Dr. Cyril Smith. In other words, they amplify the effects of the cancer cell phone radiation. And electroporation vaccines make pores in people's cells so that the virus can enter their cells, basically. The supposedly deactivated, attenuated virus can enter their cells. So they make a little electroshock with 2 needles. It uses either 2 or 3 needles, depending on the type. Electroporation vaccines, DNA vaccines, you can Google it all. To damage these cells, supposedly temporarily, to make pores in the cells. That's why it's called electroporation. So that whatever is in the vaccine, including the supposedly attenuated virus, can enter the cells. And it turns out that 5G does the same thing, according to sources online. The 5G microwave radiation increases people's cell membrane permeability. People can Google everything I'm saying here. I haven't verified it, and let me see some reproducible tests and peer-reviewed studies. Links are very welcome. I can check my chats if there's anybody writing anything. At the moment, perhaps they're all on the beach or doing healthy things, etc. Okay. So, another point is they claim that 60 gigahertz and higher frequencies are not absorbed by the skin as much as the lower frequencies, for example GSM 900, and that would be listed around here somewhere. So it uses 900, somewhere around 900 megahertz for the uplink and the downlink. They use an uplink and a downlink. GPS civil is about oh, we're not looking at GPS. GSM 900 downlink and GSM 900 uplink. The uplink uses lower frequencies than the downlink, around oh, that's 800, that's 900. The uplink is about 900, around 900, and the downlink is like 900. It's not very clear on this thing. 920 or between 910 and 940, 950, somewhere along those lines. So if you use GPS cancer cell phone signal, you would see this on this graph, and you'd have to put it on the right frequencies, between 240 megahertz. 240 here in the left bottom corner, you can see it, and up here is 1040 megahertz. So this is about 640 in the middle, roughly. Anyway, I'm gonna switch to the next band. And then we see that the graph is made slowly. That's interesting. And this is 240 to 108 megahertz. Maximum minus 72 dBm. Still plotting. So I'm gonna turn off Wi-Fi again. And oh, it was still in airplane mode. So I had Wi-Fi on in airplane mode. So perhaps we should do that again. That 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. Wait till it builds up. So we have the full spectrum on both screens. So there's a delay between the top and the bottom screen. Perhaps it has to do with certain settings of the software, basically. And perhaps this is also still updated and stuff. It would be nice if we could also have demodulation on it, so that we can hear against your cell phone radiation. That can be used to determine what type of device you're dealing with. They all have their own way of pulsing the energy. That's also why it's unnatural and toxic. This is not natural electromagnetic radiation, which also exists. And negative ions, for example, after a thunderstorm and also near waterfalls, are also really healthy. So an ionizer, air ionizer, is a good idea. I might have to buy a new one myself. Let's switch to the next one. One down. Let's see how fast that goes. .85 megahertz to 7.07 megahertz. So on the top screen it shows 76 megahertz, and at the bottom screen, so here we see 76 M. That's also shown on the measuring instrument itself, and here 7.07. And perhaps if you switch between different modes, you can measure in milliwatt per square centimeter, nanowatt per square centimeter, or automatically. Let it switch automatically. I have it on auto basically. But there was a way that you can determine that it cannot be accurate, basically, I think, by just looking at the device. I don't know exactly how I did that, and I'm not sure if it's correct. Anyway, this is minus 77, so the 900 to 1000 megahertz up to 1 gigahertz is the worst band, probably, qua RF radiation. Next one. So this is 50 to 65, and on this screen it shows 62.8 megahertz. And this may be more accurate than the device itself. Perhaps the firmware can also be updated somehow. I haven't looked at that. But this is the version 2 EMF-390, bought on eBay from the UK, and they had one left for a very reasonable price, because if I'd buy it via Stranger Than Fiction News, if I'd be in the US, that may be cheaper, but if I import it into Europe, then I have to pay a lot of import fees and stuff. But here's a good deal that you can get, and then you can buy it on the original website, GQ EMF-390. That's GQ Electronics LLC.com or something. With a discount. So yeah, for that price I think it's a very reasonable thing. People can play with this all day, or they can just keep it on in the background with their own preference alarm setting, and then the alarm will go off if there's too much radiation of the type that they've chosen to measure, basically. I think it cannot give an alarm for all three. You have to choose one in the mode, in the correct mode. Let's see if I can show this here on the screen. Oh, I was gonna do the measurement again out of airplane mode. So airplane mode off, Wi-Fi on. Am I in the right? Alright, now it's in the right thing. In the right frequency spectrum range. Measurement mode. This is so exciting. Oh, I still have to switch on cancel Wi-Fi. Now it's on. Whoa. And again, it showed it in the top screen. The bottom screen was not showing anything. So what I can do is, when there's a pulse, then get spectrum data. There's something showing there now. Well, I have to keep it on auto. Oh, there it is, there it is. Did you see it? So it's very hard to show that on the bottom screen, but we can still see it on the top screen right there. The pulse. Not the breast of Shiva. Okay. That's from that movie with Michael Douglas, Romancing the Stone, or whatever. So that's about it. I'm gonna go out of airplane mode again, into airplane mode I mean. First turn off cancel Wi-Fi, then turn on airplane mode. Please wait. Alright then. Don't know if I hit autosave here, if it's then where the data is stored basically. Or does it mean I switched on autosave on the device itself and it's stored in its memory? I've switched it on the device itself already. So I should be able to read these packets now. Let's see. Load, save. What does load do, I wonder? I'd better do save. I think that saves the data in a bin and CSV file. CSV is most used, perhaps. Like this. And it can take a while. File saved already. I've done some measurements, so then I can check if I can show it in an Excel spreadsheet. Taking a while to just show the file manager. There. Okay. Okay, I put it in recordings. Computer is quite sluggish at the moment. EMF-390. About 10 years ago I was also treated with chemotherapy. I used to live in Amsterdam, Bijlmer, and some people in these flats have an antenna next to their flat apartment and that practically beams straight into their apartment. And they have insane standards and safety standards of which they pretend they're safe, so that people cannot press charges of the damages caused by these death towers. And they're trying to do the same thing with 5G. So some people never give up because they know it's harmful and it is easy to prove that with reproducible tests. And people in the mainstream media who have spoken about it have lied about it. So it is a health hazard in contrast to what some scientists or pseudoscientists claim. Second, backup CSV load with LibreOffice or PlanMaker. Let's do it with PlanMaker. Previous time, I don't know if it had enough measuring points. It can also make screenshots of the screen of the measuring instrument itself. So I can show that as well. Probably that should work. Not loaded yet. This is the screenshot. SoftMaker free office. Oh, no, that's not the idea. Sorry. This second backup. Open with LibreOffice then. Perhaps first a screenshot, so I can turn that on. Well, it's loading. So that's what it looks like. So it had a peak at 78,000 megahertz, or is it 78 megahertz of minus 72 dPm. Yeah, 78 megahertz. What character sets should I use? Separated by fixed width. Take special numbers. Semicolon, space. Merge delimiters. Trim spaces. String delimiter. Other. From row. Okay, let's just try it like this. It should look like we see here in the manual. somewhere. You can also measure the EMF and RF data, EF data. So if you know what EF stands for, EMF might be electromagnetic frequency, EF electric fields density perhaps, I don't know, and RF radio frequency. That's why they also call 5G NR new radio. But that's theory, so I'm not certain of my case. Okay, then CSV. Example of downloaded data there. Wow. GQ EMF-390 log data history, EMF F RF power level in milliwatts per square meter, centimeter and picowatt per square centimeter, and date and time, etc. should all be shown, but here it only shows one row. Don't know what mode I have to put it in. Perhaps there's a better manual on how to do this online, or perhaps I just need to use Excel or something like that, or use different settings. This should also be able to do it. LibreOffice, one of the best freeware Office clones, if you will, that are free. So I can show you the data, or perhaps they've just made that themselves. So they've I've kept it in the RF measurement mode. Don't know if you have to put it in the, let's see, all in one mode, and then you can switch between these different between RF, EMF and EF. And F is at the moment like 5 up to 2000 volt per meter, so that's way too high. So that spinning globe, the computer, the screen, etc., that transmits a lot of that electromagnetic field radiation, electric fields in volt per meter. Or perhaps this measuring instrument is more sensitive in that area than the microwatt area. But if you want to be able to have measurements they accept as the real deal, then you'd need a NARDA probably, and that would cost thousands of euros with the right antenna. Radio and TV, Tetra, Wi-Fi, mobile, radar, DECT, cancer DECT phones, smart cancer meters, smart meters, smart cancer watches. Some of them don't even have airplane mode, and they think that's smart to reduce the global population, but other people think that's stupid and evil and illegal also. Anyway, that's it for now. I don't want to waste people's time, so I think this is a very reasonable review of the measuring instrument. My cancer cell phone is in airplane mode. I'm going to shut it down. It's getting warm. Also 61% battery. It has 2 screens, so it goes pretty fast when you're just using the... Oh, it seems to have little scratches on the screen as well. on the back screen. But perhaps I can remove that with some alcohol or something. I'll give it a try. For now I'm going to shut it down. Power off. And I think they should make more devices with an e-ink display should be produced that we can put in airplane mode, a smartwatch with a camera, audio recorder and a normal Android basically, so we can put all these thousands of apps, use them all on that smartwatch, but it has to have an e-ink display so that we have the time on continuously, so it has to have a very good battery, a 720p camera, an audio recorder. Then I'd consider buying it. I'm a watch collector and I'm not finding it anywhere. With OLED displays that's not the same as an e-ink display. Then you can have the watch on for a month or even months, and if it doesn't have an e-ink display then you can have it on one day perhaps, the screen. So the screen uses most of the battery basically. And I have several of these smartwatches already. I also did reviews about them, but I almost never wear them because you have to charge them quite regularly. And what extra advantage does it offer? The Garmin watches cannot even record audio. The Xiaomi Amazfit Base can, if you hack the software on it. If you pacify the watch, then you can do audio recordings. Also thousands of watch faces are available, but no moon phase, and you have to connect the watch to your cancer cell phone to update the time. There is no app, there is no way to change the time on these watches without connecting to a cancer cell phone. So that's another reason for me not to use them anymore. Also because you run out of battery too fast. If, for example, your plane would crash in the jungle somewhere and you're wearing a smartwatch, then you know the time for how long, a day, weeks with e-ink display, for a month or two, but then you don't have a watch anymore. And these other watches, especially if they're solar powered, the battery might last 8-10 years or longer, and then you can replace that rechargeable battery as well. So yeah, that's what we're missing, an Android watch that has these functions. And I like a timer and things like that. And it also has to look good, not like some cheap Apple Watch or whatever. And I don't like about it that you see a black screen all the time. So then the Garmin is better in that respect. Some have downloadable maps. You can keep it in airplane mode. And it can update the time via satellite, GPS. I'm rolling another thing. And I could do reviews about lots of stuff, but I think this is current. And I do advise everybody to buy at least one measuring instrument. There are also very cheap rechargeable ones. I have that somewhere. And that doesn't give a reading in microwatt per square meter, but it shows safe, unsafe, and that's about 10-15 bucks, one of the cheapest ones. And it might be on my desk under a lot of other stuff somewhere. So people can check on eBay, for example. And then as long as it's rechargeable, and it's alright, so you don't have to work with batteries. Then you could use rechargeable batteries, but rechargeable batteries sometimes don't work. And then you need a special type of rechargeable battery for 1.2 volts, etc. I also have a programmable robot basically, and for that I needed to buy accu cell batteries. I think they're German, and otherwise they don't give as much power as the alkaline batteries do. So that's also tricky. I also used to have an SL1200 record player that the professional DJs always use. I owned one in Amsterdam at RAF, the audio equipment store. They had one in the window, and it has that a cap on it, what do you call it, a lid that has magnifying glass, so you can see the arm of the record player and stuff. DJs usually take that off, but I had to have it basically. It had a record of Duran Duran, a picture disc LP basically. So it had a picture, Seven and the Red Tiger, I think it was. But okay, I don't have records anymore. Everything is on CD and tape. Can also be put on CD, etc. Though some people claim it sounds warmer. You have these dust and scratches, etc. I used to have my LPs in the closet without sleeves around them, and then it can go pretty fast. So shielding is a good idea, keeping it in airplane mode, cancer Wi-Fi off, etc. All mobile devices off, and to check if they're off you can use the measuring instrument, and then it has to have the frequency that you can measure basically. So Wi-Fi, that's like 2.4 gigahertz or something. Where's my HF4IC? Cancer Bluetooth. It's all above 2.3 gigahertz. You have video, Bluetooth, microwave ovens, and cancer Wi-Fi. I'd have to check, perhaps that's even higher, don't know. I can Google it. It doesn't show on this Ausdruckfrequenzbelegung on the meter, on the measuring instrument itself. It has no Wi-Fi on it, but under Bluetooth there are 3 markers basically. So I think one of those, that it's around Bluetooth as well basically. So perhaps it's just another form of cancer Wi-Fi. So how would it look if I put my phone in 5G mode and then keep it near this GQ EMF-390? Google. Wi-Fi frequency range. The 802.11 standard provides several distinct radio frequency ranges for use in cancer Wi-Fi communications. 900 MHz, 2.4 GHz, 3.6 GHz, 4.9 GHz, 5 GHz, 5.9 GHz, and 60 GHz bands. Each range is divided into a multitude of channels. Goody goody. So I think they should use radiant energy of Nikola Tesla and use healing curative frequencies rather than just pick a frequency that works best or for population reduction purposes. Lots of people claim that the military have used these frequencies as well, and they're still using them. 5G is used for crowd control and uses advanced beamforming technology. I did a broadcast about it, so that's how I know. So 95 gigahertz is used to burn people's skin. That's called active denial system, and they can do that with 5G as well now. And what was the other thing I wanted to Google? Second thing. Oh, the measuring instrument. If that can show if a device is 5G. I don't think so. It can only show if it's Wi-Fi, can't, or cell phone. But okay. 5G phone. EMF-390. So this Yota phone that I used can also do 5G. It is prepared for that, but I'm planning not to use that basically. And I don't have a SIM card in it, so then I know it cannot go calling without my permission, etc. Except for the emergency numbers, perhaps. Well, usually you get an option if you want to dial an emergency number to take it out of airplane mode. That's required, and it's possible without a SIM card, though some devices might not work without a SIM card. Most of them do. Videos. Yeah, I wonder what it would show if you use a higher frequency, higher than 5 gigahertz or something like that. Right now it's showing mixed, peak 282.6 nanowatt per square centimeter. So I'm looking for a video. They recommended this measuring instrument. I think it has lights, etc. And the EMF-390 also indicates normal, if the amount of radiation is normal, strong or weak, etc. Dangerous. And this one does it as well, but this one's supposedly more accurate. Though it may also have a much smaller frequency range, etc. And I have that HF35C anyway. But it was about $450, so that's like twice the price of this EMF-390. And this one is also pretty expensive. Let's add the word test to the search. So according to me and many scientists that have also signed the petition, 5G is certainly not safe. And according to many, it's a health hazard, also according to me. because they cannot deny these reproducible tests, that's one, and the reproducible studies, peer-reviewed studies that we can read and I've covered in my previous broadcasts. And the WHO admits on their website that it even affects the number of peripheral T lymphocytes. And we're dealing with chronic exposure here. It's not like one moment only when they make a cold in it, but they're in it chronically, basically. Also from other sources of cancer, cell phone radiation, microwave radiation. And the thermal effects are the least worrisome, basically. But yeah, people have reported about rashes appearing after 5G, the rollout, so also their skin can be affected by it. Safe and Sound Pro, that's the best one, supposedly, most accurate, I think, according to this video that I've referred to. RF meter comparison by 9CI. Sam Vagnon uploaded, "Is it okay to cheat on my narcissist?" Well, certainly not if you get caught, and others argue certainly not, because it's against the commandments and the agreement that you've made. If you love that person, then you're not gonna break your promise to that person. So one thing people can do is first break up and then make love with another partner, basically. Or first ask the current partner what they think about it. And another option is keeping it secret and never letting them know so they don't get hurt. But sometimes that goes wrong, and the crime passionnel is still the most common murder type, so that's why it's also a commandment not to commit adultery, which you could argue can only be committed or perpetrated, how do you say it, when the person has actual physical contact with the other person, not when it's only in mind when they think of another person, because with synthetic telepathy they can give them that idea to break up their marriage. They're also trying to destroy families, so it's best if we allow each other what we all have a right to, that is the right to freedom of thought, one of our most important rights, basic human rights. We have to be able to think anything we want to. No thoughts, police. Am I a real soy boy, not around a ready soy boy? If I consume some soy once in a while. And perhaps they're also exaggerating the harmful effects soy supposedly has, but I'm not going into that now. GQ EMF-390 test run, cell tower and 5G Wi-Fi test. Well, that's the one to watch then, I think. EMFsafeshield.com, EMF risk video. I'm gonna unwear my hoodie, everything's off. And it is like 27.5 degrees Celsius in my room. Body shield improved my energy level. Well, they also have this subliminal programming, some call it predictive programming. basically in the religious sphere, they're claiming they want to raise their frequency, that a higher frequency is better. That's all to push 5G, you know. It's total it's total BS. And here we have the page that I just referred to, so let's take a look at that. What was the other thing I wanted to remember? And I thought when I was saying it, I want to remember the other thing as well. Perhaps it was erased with synthetic telepathy. Video unavailable. No longer available because the YouTube account associated with this video has been terminated. Perhaps they didn't have a disclaimer, and perhaps it was considered triggering. Of course, YouTube may remove my whole channel and all videos, any channel, and they're still the best streaming platform because of the agreement that people have clicked agree on when they made their YouTube account, basically. Search on videos. I would like to see that video. Perhaps they can upload it somewhere else. What if I use cached pages? Can I still see it then? I'm not going to show it in this broadcast, but I'm just going to check what happens if I load this with cached pages. Let's close virtual DJ because the computer is too sluggish. What was the other point I wanted to make? How do they know my name? I definitely clicked on catch pages right here. Oh, it's supposedly loading, but it's still very sluggish. Using quite a bit of CPU. 70% CPU, 66% memory. It's also okay. Let's go. What did I want to say? What was the other point? Doesn't have that page archived, so then there's no way to watch the video. So then we'd have to find that 5G Cantor cell phone antenna ourselves, and then we can see what the EMF-390 would indicate. If it would just indicate cell phone or Wi-Fi cell phone or mixed or whatever. What all the possibilities are. Perhaps it's also in the manual. I haven't read the whole manual or anything. It's really quite easy to use. So people can scroll through all the functions. With the most left button and right button you can go to these menus, and then the middle two buttons also can have a function when you long press them. And that's it basically. That's the way to operate the EMF-390. There's not much that people can do wrong. They can reset the device basically to factory settings. So for the price I think it's very nice. And perhaps others can, with professional equipment, determine how accurate it is. If it's showing completely wrong levels, and if you can just move the comma one spot, it then becomes the correct measurement. Perhaps the firmware could be updated so that we can also put it on microwatt per square meter, for example, or other things, other stuff with it. Or the computer software perhaps could be developed by people. And I also haven't searched if there's other software that people can use with this. It was something on my water bed. So I might be able to recall it. What I wanted to say, but I've made clear the broadcast is already finished, that I'm just adding information that comes to mind about this. And I think it's a brilliant broadcast myself, so I'm going to download it. And in previous broadcasts I've also covered colloidal silver, but never without a disclaimer. And I'll put the links in the description. But what was the other thing I wanted to mention? Let's turn off the microphone so I can think clearly. I'm not recalling it at the moment. I can wear a shirt. I think it's a cool shirt. I like shirts with palm trees. And I'd have to study that Boogaloo movement, if they're doing the right thing for the people, or if they're also racist, or if they're militant, more militant than Antifa perhaps. They removed that word militant from the Antifa USA article, Wikipedia, the CIA Vatican edited encyclopedia. And you can still retrieve older Wikipedia pages with cached pages, so that's cool. Then you can see what it looked like 10 years ago and how these wiki encyclopedia articles developed basically. And there can also be lies on Wikipedia as well, of course. Well, I can sit here all day to wait till I recall what I wanted to say, but perhaps that's not a good idea. Geen goed idee. So, please like, subscribe and share this important video on your timeline, or only the part of it that you think is important. And thank you all for watching. I am gonna make some music, perhaps with an avocado, sit in the sunshine, very important, have some movement also, perhaps cycling, excellent weather for this, walk on the beach, etc. That's very good, because the seawater also has algae, plankton, etc. And the air, the sea breeze, can also help our immune system, etc. But if it's an antibody-dependent virus, then we're looking at a totally different picture. And the fact that it only affects people older than 20 or 50, depending on your view, doesn't mean that it cannot be an antibody-dependent virus. More about it in my previous broadcast on this channel, Perfect Society on YouTube. Also more info on the Future channel, and what was the other one? The Future channel on YouTube, and oh yeah, try something.vegetarian on YouTube. So peace to everyone, also the protesters who protest peacefully without doing anything that could be a reason for Mr. Trump or others to declare martial law. Kiss for single ladies who would like one. Well, and what do I usually say after this? Do healing things, do good things, and your life is the most important thing. Second, real love, and third is the real law. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.